Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to find the characteristic of the linear functions. Alright, so we're going to start with the question number 1. Alright, so in order to get this one, the first step you need to do is to find the x and y intercept. Alright, so you need to find the x-intercept first. X-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. Alright, so in order to find x-intercept, we need to let y equal to 0. Alright, so we're going to substitute 0 for y right here. Okay, so we have 0 equal to negative 3x minus 1. Alright, so I'm going to add 3x both sides. So I have 3x equal to negative 1. And I divide both sides by 3, so s equal to negative 1/3. Alright, so I have the x-intercept, which is negative 1/3. You need to write s first, and then y equal to 0 right here. And this is the first order pair of the x-intercept. Now, we need to find the y-intercept. Alright, so y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. Now, in order to find y-intercept, we're gonna let s equal to 0. Alright, so look at this equation. We're gonna substitute 0 for s. So we have negative y equal to negative 3 times 0, right? Minus 1. Alright, so it's gonna be negative y. This guy negative 3 times 0 is gonna be 0. So we have negative 1 left. Now you need to solve for y, so we need to multiply both sides by negative 1. Alright. So I'm gonna multiply this guy by negative 1 and then this guy by negative 1. So it's gonna be y equal to 1. The coordinate point should be s equal to 0, y equal to 1. Alright, so after you have x and y intercept, you can sketch a graph. Okay, right? X intercept right here, x equal to negative 1/3, y equal to 0. So we look at this one, right? 1/3, which means half negative 1/3, so it should be right here. And y equal to 0, so the point should be right here. And then the y-intercept, x equal to 0, y equal to 1, so it could be right here. Alright, now you just connect these 2 points and you get the graph. Now, next one. We need to determine if the graph represents a function, right? So we're going to use a vertical line test, right? We draw a vertical line. And we see that the vertical line meets the graph at 1 point. Right, so this is a function. So this is yes. Now next one, we need to find the slope, right? So in order to find the slope, we need to convert this one into slope-intercept form, right? So in order to do that, I see that I need to solve for y. So I need to multiply both sides by negative 1, right? So this one right here, I multiply both sides by negative 1. So what do I have? Negative 1 times negative y should be y equal to negative 1 times negative 3 should be 3x. Negative 1 times negative 1 should be plus 1. Alright, and my slope is 3 right here. This is my slope. The slope is the number in front of x value, right? So the slope equal to 3. Now next one, we need to find x-intercept, right? X-intercept, we already got it right here. So we don't need to find it. 0. Okay, 0 is another name of x-intercept, right? So this guy and this guy, same thing. So when they talk about the 0, which means they talk about the x-intercept, right? So you can write negative 1/3 like this. This is the 0. Negative 1/3 is the 0 because y equal to 0. So you just write negative 1/3. That is the 0. Now next one, the y-intercept, we got it right here, right? Y-intercept, which means 0, 1, right? Now domain, which means we need to find the interval from left to right, right? So we see that the left ones right here, it should be negative infinitive. The right one should be positive infinitive. The bottom right here should be negative infinitive. And the top right here should be positive infinitive. Okay. Now the graph keeps going all the way to the left. You see that? If you draw a line, it should be like this. Right? Which means s values go to negative infinitive. Right? And then the right hand side right here, the graph keeps going up like this. Right? And the s values keeps going to the right. Right? So the domain should be s greater than negative infinitive and less than positive infinitive. So normally we're not going to write like this. We need to write all real numbers. Alright, now next one, we need to find the range, right? In order to find the range, we need to go from the bottom to top, right? Now I need to go from the bottom right here, right? I see that the graph keeps going down forever, right? So the range should be negative infinitive less than y, less than, and you see that the arrows point up, which means the graph keeps going up, right? So it's going to infinitive, so it's less than infinitive. Right, so you just write this is all real numbers, right? Now keep in mind, when we talk about the domain, we talk about the s value. When we talk about the range, we talk about the y value. Okay. Next one, we need to write the equation in the slope-intercept form and point-slope form. Alright, so the slope-intercept form, we already got it right here. Now we need to convert this one into point-slope form, right? In order to do that, we need to pick a point. Okay, so basically I choose s equal to 1, and then I substitute over here. I solve for y, right? So I have y equal to 3 times 1 plus 1. So y equal to 4. Alright, so I have the point. It's going to be 1, 4. And I have the slope from here. The slope equal to 3. Alright, so I have a slope equal to 3. So I use the point slope formula. It's going to be y minus y1 equal to m times s minus s1. Right? Alright, so I substitute this guy right here, s1, y1, which means 1 and 4. This is s1, this is y1. Alright, so I have y minus y1, which means 4, right? So it's going to be 4 equal to slope equal to 3 times s minus s1, s1 equal to 1, right? And this is my answer for the point slope form. This is for slope intercept form, right? Okay, we have the y-intercept right here, we have the s-intercept right here, right? We have the domain and range right here. All right, let's move on to the next one, question number 2 right here. All right, so we need to find the s and y-intercept, right? So in order to find s-intercept, we need to let y equal to 0, right? S-intercept is where the graph crosses the s-axis, right? So we're gonna let y equal to 0. All right, question number 2 right here. So y equal to 0, which means 5 times 0. 5 times 0 equal to negative 2s minus 5. All right, now 5 times 0 equal to 0. And then it's going to be negative 2s minus 5. Now, you can flip this one. So it's going to be negative 2s minus 5 equal to 0, right? And then I'm going to add 5 both sides, so it turns out to be negative 2s equal to 5. And I divide both sides by negative 2, so s equal to negative 5 over 2, right? Alright, so my s-intercept should be negative 5 over 2, comma 0. Alright, so in order to find the y-intercept, we're gonna let s equal to 0, right? So this y-intercept. Alright, y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, right? So we're gonna let s equal to 0, right? So we substitute over here. So we have 5y equal to negative 2 times 0 minus 5, right? And I need to solve for y. So it could be 5y equal to, this one equal to 0, right? So it could be equal to negative 5 right here. So y equal to negative 1, because you need to divide both sides by 5, right? So y equal to negative 1. Now, you have the y-intercept should be what? S equal to 0 right here, right, 0, and y equal to negative 1 right here. Alright. So you have 2 points right here. Now you just plot these 2 points on the x and y coordinate right here. So x equal negative 5 over 2, which is negative 2.5. So I get this right here. And y equal to 0, right? So the point right here. Now, x equal to 0, y equal to negative 1, so it could be right here, right? And then you connect these 2 points. Alright, and don't forget the arrow. Okay, now next one, we need to determine if the graph represents a function, right? So I need to sketch a vertical line, right? I use the vertical line test, and I see that the vertical lines cross the graph at only one point. So this is a function, and it's yes. Alright, now next one, we need to find the slope. Alright, so in order to find the slope, we need to convert this one into slope-intercept form, right? So in order to do that, I need to divide both sides by 5, right? So y equal to negative 2 over 5s minus 5 over 5, right? But 5 over 5 is going to be 1. So instead of 5 over 5, I just put 1 right here, right? And this is my slope-intercept form. And you know that the slope should be the number in front of s. So the slope should be negative 2 over 5. Right? Done. Now, x-intercept, we already got it right here. X-intercept, we got it. Now, zeros is the same thing, look. Right? So x-intercept and zeros, they're both the same. Keep that in mind. Now, y-intercept, right here. We got it right here. Okay. Now, domain, right? Domain, which means we need to go from left to right, right? And we see that the arrow keep pointing to the left, right? So this is negative infinity, this is positive infinity, this is positive infinity, and this is negative infinity. Keep that in mind. Alright, so the arrow points to the left, which means points to the negative infinity. And this on the right hand side, the arrow points to the right, which means points to the positive infinity. So the domain should be all real numbers. Now we need to find the range, right? So the range, which means we need to go from bottom to top, right? Bottom, and you see that the arrow keep pointing down, right? So it's going to negative infinity. And the arrow points up right here. You see that? So which means the y value going to positive infinity. So the range should be all real numbers. Now next one, we need to write the equation in slope-intercept form. We already got it right here, so we're done. Now we need to find the point slope form, right? So in order to find point slope form, you must pick a point on the graph, right? So in order to do that, I look at this one, I let s equal to 5, right? You can let s equal to any number, right? So I let s equal to 5 because I see 5 right here, so I can cancel out, right? So I have y equal to negative 2 over 5 times 5 minus 1. So 5 and 5 right here cancel out, right? So you have y equal to negative 2 left right here, minus 1. So y equal to negative 3. Alright, so I have the point. It's going to be 5, comma, negative 3. And I also have the slope. It's going to be negative 2 over 5, right? So this is my slope. It's going to be negative 2 over 5. Alright, so I need to write this one in point slope form. So I have y minus y1 equal to m times s minus s1. Alright, so this is my s1, y1, and this is slope. I substitute into this formula and I'm done. So I have y minus y1, which means minus negative 3, right? Minus negative 3. It turns out to be positive 3 because two negative signs next to each other turns out to be positive. So it can be plus 3 equal to m equal to negative 2 over 5 times s minus s1. s1 equal to 5. So s minus 5. And I'm done. Right? This is the answer. Okay. Now let's move on to the next example. Example number 5 right here. Alright. Now we need to sketch this one, right? In order to sketch this one, keep in mind we have the Christmas tree trick. It's going to be like this. If you see the vertical line like this, right, the function should be s equal to s-intercept, which means s equal to something. Right? If you see the horizontal line like this, the function should be y equal to y-intercept. Okay, so for this one right here, how do I grab this one? I only see s, I don't see y. So I need to solve for s. So I need to subtract 1 both sides. So it turns out to be negative 1 equal to 1 over 2 s. And I just rewrite this one as 1 over 2s equal to negative 1. Right? Now I need to multiply both sides by 2. So what do I have? I have this guy multiplied by 2. And then this guy multiplied by 2, right? So 2 times 1/2 is going to be cancel out, right? So I have s right here. Now this one, 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative 2, alright? This is my equation. So you look at the Christmas tree trick right here. This is called Christmas tree trick. Alright, so s equal s-intercept, right? This one right here matches this guy right here, right? So s-intercept right here in this situation is going to be negative 2. So I look at the s-axis, I locate negative 2, which is right here. Right? And I use the Christmas tree right here, right? It should be vertical line because s equal. So it should be something like this. Alright, and this is my equation of s equal to negative 2, right? Now, I need to find the slope, s-intercept, 0, y-intercept, domain, range, and convert the equation into slope-intercept form and point-slope form, right? Now, I need to find s-intercept, right? So my s-intercept should be right here, right? So it should be negative 2, comma 0. And 0 should be this guy right here, the number right here, negative 2. Okay? Now, there is no y-intercept because the graph never touches the y-axis, right? So, no y-intercept. Now, we need to determine if this one is the function, right? So, we're going to use vertical line test, right? So, we draw a vertical line, okay? So, the vertical lines overlap in this one, right? So, the vertical lines meets the graph at infinitely many points. So, this is not a function. Now we need to find the domain and range, right? So domain, which is S value, right? And you see that when you move from left to right, you see that the vertical line right here, the graph right here, stay at only point -2, right? So the domain should be curly bracket -2, and then you close it like this, right? Just one number. Now the range, and you see that this guy keep going down forever, then this guy keep going up forever. So you put positive infinity right here and negative infinity right here. So the range from bottom to top, which means it's gonna be all real numbers. Okay. Now the slope. Look at the Christmas tree right here. If you see the vertical lines, the slope should be undefined. Is undefined. And if you see the horizontal line right here, the slope is 0. Alright. Now, how do we know it? This is just a trick, but we can solve it, right? So, we see the slope is going to be equal to rise over run, right? y2 minus y1 over s2 minus s1. Okay, so I'm going to pick 2 points right here. I pick this point and I pick this point right here. Okay, so I have different y value. The y value right here 3. The y value equal to 0, right? So y2 which means 3, right? This is y2, this is y1, this is s1, and this is s2, right? Now y2 equal to 3 minus y1, which means 0, over s2 which is -2 because it stays on the same line, right? -2, and then minus s1 is still -2 minus -2, right? So it's gonna be 3 divided by -2 plus 2. Alright, so it could be 3 divided by 0. So it could be undefined, right? That's why we have the slope of the vertical lines undefined. Alright, and this is the final equation, right? So we cannot convert this one into slope-intercept form or point-slope form. Right, let's move on to this question, question number 14. We look at this one, we don't see x, we only see y, right? So we need to solve for y. So y equal to -1. Alright, so we need to graph this one. So we're going to use the Christmas tree trick again. Alright, if you see the horizontal line, which means y equal to y-intercept, that is the line. Alright, so y-intercept equal to -1, right? So I look at the y-axis, I locate -1, which is right here. Okay, so I use the Christmas tree right here. It should be horizontal line, so the line should be like this. And this is y equal to -1. Okay, now we need to find the slope of this one, right? So the slope of this one, if you see the horizontal line, the slope should be equal to 0. Okay, now how do we know it? We just pick 2 points on the line, right? I pick this guy and this guy, right? So I have y value right here, -1. Y value right here is still -1, right? But s value right here is going to be 2. S value right here is going to be 0, right? So I call this is y2, y1. This is s1. This is s2. Now I use the slope formula. M equal to y2 minus y1 over s2 minus s1, right? So I substitute this guy into this formula. So y2 equal to -1, right? Because it stays on the same line right here. Right, so it's going to be -1 minus y1. Y1 still -1, so minus -1 right here. over x2. x2 is going to be 2. x1 is going to be 0, right? So it could be -1 plus 1, right? Two negative signs next to each other turns out to be positive. Alright, so it's going to be 2. Now, -1 plus 1 is going to be 0 divided by 2. It's going to be 0. That's why we have a slope equal to 0. Okay? Now, we need to find the x-intercept and y-intercept, right? So, because the graph right here parallel to the x-axis, so the graph never touches the x-axis. So, there is no x-intercept, right? So, we say no x-intercept. And the y-intercept should be this guy right here. Alright, so y-intercept is going to be 0, -1. Because there is no x-intercept, which means we have no 0, right? Next one, we need to find the domain and range of this function, right? Domain is going to be from left to right, so you see that it's going to be like this, right? So it could be from -infinity to positive infinity, because you see the arrow point to the left and point to the right. So the domain should be all real numbers. Now the range, since the graph stay at -1, right? Right, so the range should be -1. Alright. Now, is this a function? Yes, because we need to draw a vertical line test, and we see that the vertical line meets the graph at one point, right? So it's going to be a function. So yes, it is a function. And it's good time to stop. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that if you failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine.